Well, the track is clear. The cars are lit. And now the next three pairs are the battle for 10th place in Top Fuel. There are the numbers for you. Currently occupied by Dave Grubnick. McMillen just 18 back. Vandergrift just 39 back.
Yeah, 20 points per round. That means Terry McMillen's got to go one round further. Bob Vandergrift has to go 2 rounds further than David Grubnick.
But in all three cases, the guy who's involved in that fight for 10th does not have lane choice. So a win would definitely be an upset and be a major step for them.
The last 2 races, all 3 of those drivers have gone out in the first round, and that kind of tells you why they're mired in, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, in that range. They just haven't been that good. They've been pretty mediocre. And every time one of them looks like you're going to step up and see some performance, we saw Grubby step up and go some rounds, and then he kind of falls off. Vandergrift looks like his performance is coming around, and then he has an issue at Brainerd where he had a little bit of a tough break, and then came in here and struggled at the beginning of qualifying. But then came back, both him and Hot Rod made a nice side-by-side runs yesterday evening.
Yeah, but Hot Rod Fuller can be very, very strong. One of the greats. And McMillen been at 15 races this year, but you think about it. He hasn't gotten past first round that often, only 4 times in fact.
And you got to remember that Hot Rod Fuller, that's Bob Vandergrift's teammate, so he can really help him out because Hot Rod hasn't run the whole series, so he's not in the battle for the Countdown to the Championship. He's just looking at trying to win Indy, and right now looking at trying to take out Terry McMillen and help out Bob.
Fuller wants to be a spoiler anyway.
Good time to start right here.
Oh, no, but there goes with your first upset and a big bang. McMillen takes the win. Take a look at his supercharger. I don't think it ought to point that way.
No, I don't think so.
Well, so he does exactly what he needs to do. That is, get this thing another round if he wants to get around Dave Grubnick.
Well, and watch Hot Rod Fuller right here. He spun the tires trying to help his boss out, and no chance at that point. He gave one little quick blip on the throttle to try to get to recover, but at that point, Terry McMillen, he was hooked up and going strong up until just before the finish line, and then boom, had some cylinders go out, launched that supercharger off of there, and but as you said, he did get the win.
Look at that. Oh, wow. It's got to be so loud in the cockpit too.
Well, and two, I'll tell you what, before they had the shrouds in the back of the roll cage right there, it used to be the concussion would blow your head just forward. You'd be looking down at the belly pan. Sometimes it would hit so hard. Look at the amount of damage on that, and it's that was a tremendous explosion there. Parts and pieces everywhere.
Look at the Lucas Oil photo finish cam here. Oh, remember, Fuller went away early, but the engine explosion, he got to carry right across the line. Now, yeah, he got the round win, but he may have hurt himself as well because they have invoked the oil penalty, a $1,000 fine, 10 points subtracted. So he stepped forward and stepped back.
Well, and the thing is, 20 points, he would have picked up a round. By losing 10 points, even though he picked up that he was 18 and out 8, he's still out around a racing. So he basically, that cost him a round right there.
He would have moved forward 2 ahead, but with a penalty, he drops back. We told you there's going to be some drama here today. Let's go to Dave Reef.
Down with Cruz Pedregon, the #1 qualifier with that booming 4.02 that stole everybody's breath. You and I were just talking, a 3-time MacTools U.S. Nationals winner, but you used the term, it seems like it's been a generation, since 1995 since you've won this race. So how do you bridge the gap today?
With a fast car and consistency, it's weird because we've had to adjust to 4 different situations here. Friday was really hot, Saturday was not as hot but really hot, Sunday was cooling off. So this is going to be a challenge for everybody today, including us. We because you've got to pull it back. It's cold. It's like California weather out here, so it's going to be a little bit different. I wish it would have stayed hot like it was Friday, but we all have to adjust. Be a heck of a race today.
Looking forward to it. Gary Gerald.
Terry McMillen, a bittersweet moment. You get 20 for a round win, but you've just lost 10, they tell us, for oil. The net is you're 8 points behind David Grubnick. How tough is that to swallow?
Oh, it's tough. I knew a car was in trouble, but I never seen him, and I had to stay in it, and you got to do what you got to do, man. I blew this thing up bad. I mean, injectors in pieces, the blower's sideways. Not sure what happened down there, but it didn't like it. But you know what? The bottom line is, Emily Oil, University of Northwestern Ohio, Motor State, All-star, man, I tell you what, these guys sticking behind us, giving us the opportunity, but my guys, we worked till midnight last night, put a new rear end in the car, new motor, just to make sure we had our A game today coming here. We did our job. Unfortunately, didn't make it. I'm really sorry to all of my other racers, for the friends, for the oil down. I didn't mean that, but I was out in front, man, and when I don't see him, I'm not lifting. I'm going to go for the win. I got to get 8 more points. I got to go 1 more round. That's all I got to do.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Oh, look at that. Let's go to Jamie.
Bob Tasca has never made it to the finals in Nitro Funny Car, but Bob, you did make it to the finals your first 2 times here in Alcohol Funny Car. You're up against John Force in round 1. What's the game plan?
Well, there's no easy matchups out here. I tell you, the conditions are just unbelievably different today versus yesterday. You're going to have to go out there and really throw something at this racetrack. It should be some exciting racing.
We're looking forward to it. Thank you.
Bob Tasca pretty much in the same position, sits 10th right now, but Johnny Gray is nibbling at him in Funny Car. Let's go back and look at McMillen one more time. I mean, that was huge, right at the front of the engine.
The belt come off, looks like pieces of the manifold or possibly the supercharger case. Boy, that was a big explosion.
The mixed emotions at the U.S. Nationals. We'll be back. The NHRA Full Throttle Drag Racing Series, another look at Terry McMillen and that engine explosion.
You see the engine getting really mixed up. Look at the belt, and then right there starts pushing out a head gasket. And probably what happens, it misfired between the cylinders and lit all that fuel in the manifold. See parts and pieces there. That's probably a part of the manifold or the supercharger case going there. That was just a pretty violent explosion, but that's what happens when you 2 misfire and it lights all that fuel in that manifold.
And as violent as it is, the safety systems work. For a Napa Track Fact, let's go to Gary Gerald.
Paul, here at this car, they're having to jack it up, and it just fell off the jack, and they're going to have to replace the right rear wheel. But you look around here, and we're going to ask Tim to swing back over here. The devastation of this engine, of this motor, is so extreme that down in here, as it drips oil, you can actually see the inner pieces where the cam broke and everything just blew up, and you look at the thickness of all that metal that's just been absolutely devastated. That gives you a pretty good idea of how powerful the impact was on that explosion and that costly oil down. This crew, McMillen says they're going to be back for the 2nd round, but believe me, they have got a ton of work to do. And first of all, they've got to get that wheel replaced before they can even roll it to get back to the pits.
A lot of work for them to do. Terry McMillen still trying to get into 10th place in Top Fuel. That reaction. I did good. No, I didn't. I did good. No, I didn't.
He knew he gave one away there.
Let's go back to that first matchup. This is Doug Coletta.
Well, Doug Coletta looks like it was probably a little bit of a different situation. He starts mixing the cylinders up a little bit, and then if you watch as he gets towards the finish line, you're going to see out of the back of the car, the overflow tank starts putting oil in out the back of that. Sometimes that's just burnt pistons inside the engine and just pulls all that oil past the rings, up in the valve covers, and in that tank and out the back.
And everybody is pumped up today. That little extra effort. Let's go to John Kernan.
And I'm in Doug Coletta's pit where his crew is getting ready to change an engine to put a new engine in it. And I've got the culprit of what happened. This is the number 2 piston, and you can see all the markings, the damage there around here. It just really had a malfunction, so to speak, Mike. And they tell me they think they actually hurt this piston on the burnout. They didn't hurt the block or anything, but better safe than sorry. They are putting a new engine in the car for the next run.
John's got a souvenir.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Paul, let me tell you about that. This piston's probably a couple hundred degrees hot still. Now, with this special glove, now I know how these guys firsthand can work on these things after they come back into the pits.
I thought you were just cold, my friend.
Well, that too, you know. It is a little chilly. Had all 4 seasons this weekend, right?
Exactly. Well, as we watch the work on the Coletta car, the next be NASCAR coming up. Don't forget our coverage of NASCAR. It's the $3 million on the line at the Sprint Summer Showdown. Now, coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Atlanta, presented by Pennzoil, got rained out yesterday. So the coverage will begin Tuesday at 11 o'clock in the morning. Let's go to Gary.
Paul, over my shoulder, you see Terry McMillen walking toward the car. The officials of the safety safari just came and told him that the team came down the return road too fast. A penalty. They're going to stop and hold them. I don't know how long they're going to hold them, but this further complicates the urgency to get back to the other side of the racetrack, into the pits, and go to work on repairing that race car.
Wow, can you believe this, Mike? Another change for McMillen.
Man, he just can't get a break today, can he?
No, well, he got one. He won the round.
Well,
but
yeah.
Since then, oil down, penalty, 10 points gone, $1,000 out of his pocket. Now they're going to hold him before the scales so he can't get back and get to work right away until he serves out this penalty. It's a 1-minute penalty, but still, they need every minute. Yeah, look at that. Wonderment. Well, back up at the starting line as we're waiting for the cleanup for the oil down. This is Spencer Massey's Top Fuel team. And cold temperatures, a lot of humidity, changing that wing.
Yeah, I didn't see what exactly they did, but I got to believe with the conditions the way they are, the air is much heavier, so they don't need as much downforce. So they're probably taking a little bit of downforce out of the wing to try to free up them rear tires down track.